Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. If you're watching this on catch up, welcome. Thank you for watching. It's Wednesday evening. It's 7 o'clock, and I am Kevin Guthrie, and we are here. As they me, I'd say we, I mean me. We are here to talk all things mental health and well-being, going into the winter months, the darker months. Welcome people that are online. Welcome Bobby. Welcome Vanessa. Thank you for being here. And Catherine, thank you for watching. So, who am I? I am Kevin Guthrie. I'm a local psychotherapist. When I say local, I mean here in the lovely little market town of Newark. I have a massive passion for mental health and well-being. It saddens me when I see people stressed or anxious or depressed, when I know that there are so many ways that we don't need to be like that. Okay, so myself and Newark and Sherwood District Council wanted to put this resource together so as we could resource people, and it's all about resourcing going into winter. We've had a hell of a year. The evening isn't getting much better. The evening, Freudian slip there. The year isn't getting much better, but when we are going into the winter months. So for me, it's all about resourcing. It's all about going into the winter with as many tricks and techniques as we possibly can to go into the winter months armed, ready for it. Okay, so that's what we're doing. Oh my goodness, how many people? That's amazing. Thank you. Hello, Gary. Welcome. So tonight we are going to look at all things mental health and well-being going into winter, and we're also going to tackle the big C word. No, not coronavirus, Christmas. Because it's that kind of time of year when we start thinking about Christmas. It's that time of year when we start making plans. And I'm aware that it's been tainted already for a lot of people. So I wanted us to have a conversation about it. I wanted us to discuss Christmas, what it is, what it means, and how can we make Christmas this year our own, and I guess reclaim it and not allow it to be claimed by coronavirus. Okay, this is our Christmas, but there are ways that we can do it and reclaim it for ourselves. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. On that, I have a couple of questions to ask you so just before we go on, the sessions are called Resource, Reset and Regulate. It is all about resourcing and resetting, and then regulate during the winter months. That's why I call them the Triple R sessions. That's what they are about. Okay, so welcome everybody that's watching. It is amazing to have you online. So Christmas, I have a couple of questions to ask you, to put forward to you first, before I kind of really quickly recap on what we've covered over the last 3 weeks. And I've got some amazing news for you, which I'll give you later. Okay, so Christmas, here we go. Look, we even have holly and Christmas Santa. If I go like that, the bells are sat on my head. So thinking about Christmas, for you, what are your hopes, firstly? And what are your fears? What are your fears for this Christmas? Okay, if you need to write them down. But you have to think about those whilst I recap over what we did over the last 3 weeks. Thank you for everybody that has been watching these. It has been absolutely amazing to have you online, and your questions are amazing. And remember, as I go through the next kind of 56 minutes, this is all about your questions. I'm going to give you as much information as I can about resourcing, but send me a question. If you've got something to ask me, then ask me. Use this time to ask somebody that kind of knows a little bit about mental health and well-being. Okay? Having had my own journey, having had my own difficulties for many, many years, I feel like I'm in a position now, because of all the private client work I do and my own journey, to answer a few questions. So go on, challenge me a little bit. So let's have a look at what we did over the last few weeks. When I work in a very holistic way. Okay, so mental, physical, spiritual, social, and emotional. I'm not just a psychotherapist. For me, I am a whole human being, and whatever I deliver is delivered on those bases there. So mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, and social. Week 1, we looked at anxiety. It was standard, really. There's a lot of anxiety around. There's still anxiety around. I get the sense that it's going to peak again because of new restrictions that have just been brought in. For everybody living in Newark, you'll know what I'm talking about. I don't want to talk about it too much. So anxiety, that was a big one. And anxiety, of course, crosses over all of those areas there. Anxiety, is a very natural feeling that we get. It's like a little warning system that we all have. What happens with it gets dialed up and then it doesn't get back down. It doesn't get dialed down again. I said on week 1 that there's a really brilliant book called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. And the reason they don't get ulcers is because their fight or flight system resets itself immediately after the danger has passed. Us, being the lovely, sophisticated, amazing human beings that we are, we don't reset. So we have to consciously reset our fight or flight systems. And sometimes we don't know how to do that. And that's part of these sessions. I want to be able to give you tips and techniques over how we do those resets. So anxiety was week 1. What was on... Just moving forward. Oh, and also on week 1, I taught you some breathing exercises. Breathing is one of the most amazing exercises you can do to reset. Really simply, breathe in through the nose, hold the breath, and then breathe out through the mouth. I encourage you to breathe in as much as you can without going dizzy. So do it seated. Make sure the breath goes all the way down into the diaphragm, and then breathe back out again. If you do 2 minutes deep breathing every hour all day long, your anxiety will reduce. Your stress and your ability to worry will reduce massively. I know it seems strange that breathing to that degree would have such a profound effect, but honestly, it does. If you don't believe me, then test it. And if it doesn't work, then come back and tell me, and we'll have a discussion about it. Okay, so breath works, brilliant. Also on week 1, we talked about vitamin D. We're in a period of the year now where vitamin D is just really, really important. I ask everybody to be taking vitamin D at this time of year. Just a little tablet. It's like a little ray of sunshine. I take it every day. Please, please, please take vitamin D. It is so important in terms of our mood. But as you can see from that graph there, it's so important for so many, many different things. I'm just turning my fan on because it gets really warm in this room. So yeah, please take a vitamin D. It is vital. If you're taking a multivitamin, then that's brilliant. But I would take a vitamin D on top of that as well. Okay. Excuse the ting. That's because my laptop's attached to my phone. Then, what did we do? Oh, on week 2, we looked at unwanted behaviours or habits. So on unwanted behaviours, habits, we started to look at habits and behaviours that we didn't want. How does that affect our winter wellness? Well, if we can get rid of unwanted behaviours and habits, then we just become a little bit healthier. Okay, so we did that. We looked at conscious versus unconscious. I asked you the question, how much time do you think we spend in the conscious mind versus the unconscious mind? And the answer was, you ready for this? 94%. 94% of the day on average is spent in the unconscious mind on autopilot, making decisions and choices that we do have control over, but whilst we are in the unconscious mind, we don't have any control over. We just keep doing them. So if you're doing things that you're not happy with, then take them out of identify them, take them out of the unconscious mind, and then reprogram them in the conscious part of the mind. Sounds a little bit simple. Maybe if it's a habit or a behavior that really bothers you, then go and do that with a professional that can help you. But I know that was a fact that shocked a lot of people. That's how much of the day we spend doing things that we might not ordinarily do, like reaching for a glass of wine, like reaching for something from the treat cupboard, like not going to the gym, like not going for a walk, all of those things that I talk about all the time. Okay, and we also looked at a butterfly hug. So a butterfly hug is another calming practice. It's a practice. So a butterfly hug is arms gripped and gently tap either side. Close your eyes and take yourself to a really, really safe space. Really safe space, okay? And close your eyes, and what will happen is your system will just calm. The alternate tapping of the arms taps into the EMDR model, which is a really powerful model. I can see all your comments coming through. I am definitely going to start reading through some of these comments soon, I promise you. I'm not ignoring you. I can't wait to get to them. So that was a butterfly hug. And then last week we looked at resilience. Why resilience? Because resilience was low, and my sense is that again this week it will be even lower, just because people again are really struggling. Just quickly, can I interject with please share this feed, share it into groups, and share it into your feed. Share it wherever you can, because the more people we get watching, the more people will have a more peaceful and healthier winter. Okay, so please share. This is not about me. This is about getting resources into the public domain from myself and you, Show District Council, that can help people, because that's what we're about. We're about empowering people to take care of their own mental health, because we can. And I know we can, because I'm right in the middle of it all, in the middle of mine and everybody else's mental health. Okay, so I know this stuff. What came next? Resilience. Oh, we've got a little graph coming up, I believe. So when we looked at resilience, I like to look at resilience like a little battery. So look at that little battery there. There is input and there is output. This, I talked about this further on last week's feed. So if you want to know more about resilience and you weren't there watching, then please go back and please check into it. But look at the input and look at the output, because it's really important. So important that we know how we're charging that battery up. And it's really important to know what is draining on that battery, or who is draining on that battery. It could be that you're around people that are draining the energy away from you and your ability to be more resilient. Okay, so that was resilience. Then we went into the two sides of resilience. We looked at input more deeply, and then we looked at output more deeply. All of that is on last week's feed. Okay, so we talked about Christmas. I asked you some questions earlier about Christmas. I'm just going to pull that back down a minute, and then I'm going to have a look at some of your questions. I'm going to scroll through. Good grief. Right. Watching. Evening all. Evening Gary. Hi Kelly, my cousin Kelly. Hi Sue. Sue Hallen from the lovely Shoremind. Oh, what a fantastic question, Julie. So how can I have a Christmas that works for me? I love that question. How would I answer it? I think I would answer it by asking you individually, or let me just get rid of that sign over my face. I would start by asking you, what kind of Christmas do you want? Because if we don't know that, then how can we have the Christmas that we want? So by this I mean, we can very easily get caught up in, well, it's Christmas, so we should have Christmas pudding. Well, it's Christmas, so we should have mince pies. Well, it's Christmas, so we have to buy an absolute ton of presents. And I ask you to consider who put all of those rules in place and where all of that came from. My sense is that this Christmas, or this year's Christmas, will be very different. We seem to have wrapped Christmas up in this massive glittery parcel full of ribbons and glitter and shiny things. And you know, we invented that. And I wonder, and it's only a wonder, I wonder if this year we can go back to something a little bit more simple. I wonder if we can scale back on gifts and presents. I wonder if we can scale back whilst money's so tight, and whilst people are losing their jobs, and whilst the world is under the threat that it's under. Do we really now need to go out and spend hundreds, sometimes thousands of pounds on presents that we can ill afford? There might be a little voice in your head right now going, oh, that's going to make it really lovely and that'll make it really special. It might do for about 3 hours. But you know, when January comes, the darkest, coldest month of the year, it won't. Because then the bill will come in and that's when it will really hit you. So going back to the question, how can I have a Christmas that works for me? Work out what works for you. How do you want it to be? You know, I do this thing on weddings. When I'm working with couples that are getting married, for example, then I'm just about to start fiddling with a pen, I'll put that down. I ask them to go away separately and write down 5 things that are important to them on their wedding day. But I ask them to do it separately, and the reason I ask them to do it separately is because I don't want either of them to be influenced by the other one, and I want their 5 things in priority order to be theirs and not influenced by anybody else. And if you're in a household with another person or with family, then if you're in a household with there's you and a partner and 2 kids, then maybe all 4 of you do this. All 4 of you go away and you write a list in priority order of what's important to you individually for Christmas. And then what we do is we bring the list back together. And then you decide what's going to happen for Christmas. Okay? So for me, that's how we find out how we have a Christmas that works for us. But we seem to be stuck in this mire sometimes of doing things that are expected, doing things that society expects of us. Excuse me whilst I take a quick slurp. Oh, that's nice. I promise you that is tea, nothing else. It is tea. So that's how we have a Christmas that works for me. Do a list. If there's just 2 of you in the house, then do a list that works for you. And I think you might be surprised. What comes up on the list. We're going to talk much, much more about Christmas. But Julie, thank you so much for that question. It was brilliant. Bobby's put, oddly, some of the usual pressures to be everywhere with everyone. Oh, good point, Bobby. Good point. So yes, the pressures to be everywhere with everyone will be much less this year. I think also with that there might be a little bit of heartache in terms of people that we can't see, and I completely understand that. You know, the other thing about Christmas is there's a lot of, I use the word expectations a lot. There's a lot of expectations for us to be places and do things and almost become like little entertaining monkeys for other people. And honestly, Christmas Day is yours, and it's yours and your partner's if it's yours and your partner, or it's yours on your own if it's you on your own. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's about you first, and then everybody else around you. I should quickly add to that if you do have responsibilities in your world, like if you have an elderly parent to look after or somebody that is ill, then you have that responsibility. But there will come a time when your Christmas will be your own, okay? So I'm aware that some people have responsibilities that they can't get out of. But I'm also really aware, because I hear it a lot in here, that Christmas ends up being what other people want it to be and not what we want it to be. And for me, that really saddens it. I did a bit of work last year with somebody. I'm not going to reveal anything, any names, but it was about... Oh, that was it. It was a child that had been told that they were going to take part in a Secret Santa. And Mum would usually step in and go, okay, what should I get? And off Mum would potter and get the gift. And after a conversation with me in one of my group sessions, the mum went, okay, what's the budget? £20. Okay, here's your £20. Off you go and do your shopping. And the young person was like, What do you mean? what do you mean I should do the shop? Well, it's your Secret Santa, so you can go and get it. If the child is of an age that they can go and do their own shopping, then let them go and do it. We don't need to be doing their shopping when they get to 13, 14 and 15. They can do it themselves. They can work it out themselves. Okay? Maybe assist them, but teach them how to do it. That is one way of making Christmas a little bit simpler. Another way is, and somebody else, this was something else I did last year. It was about Christmas Day itself. And Christmas Day itself seemed to be falling on one person's shoulders. Everything from actually it wasn't Christmas Day. It was buying presents, wrapping presents, buying food, cooking food, decorating the house, making sure the cards are written, the cards are sent. I'm not even sure why we send cards anymore, if I'm honest. I send cards to people that I definitely don't see and they're kind of out there and I have no contact with. But apart from that, I don't send cards because why would I? And I said to this person, so maybe do an extensive list of everything that you have to do that involves Christmas. Everything from arranging people to bedding to Christmas dinner to the food to Boxing Day food, all of that, make an extensive list and then sit down with the family and say who's doing what. Because I'm not doing it all. Would that work for you? Just have a think about that. So yeah, Bobby, I agree. Some of the pressures will be reduced. Rachel agrees with Bobby entirely. I've looked at vitamin D. What level milligram do you recommend? I don't really. If I'm honest, I went into Boots the other week to buy some more, and I just bought what was on the shelf. Don't overthink it too much. It's just vitamin D. It can't hurt. So I wouldn't overthink it too much. I'd just buy it. Just buy it as quickly as you can and start taking it. You can also get a little spray, and you can also get drops as well that you just drop into your mouth. So, right. What else do we have? Do we have any more questions? Remember. Oh, somebody's answered that. Rachel, somebody's put NHS Choices info says 10 micrograms daily. So there you go. Thank you, Amanda, for answering that. I just throw it down my neck. My little girl is on. My little girl is nearly 6 foot. Yeah, we'll leave that one there. She's taller than me in heels. So yeah, Christmas. Do we have any fears or hopes for Christmas? For me this year, it's about scaling it back. Scaling it back financially. And I can say that in front of my daughter if she's still watching, because I know that it won't matter, that she'll be really cool with that. Christmas is Christmas has become such an unhealthy time for so many people. Honestly, it really has. I find it's a time of two halves where people either get really, 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 really happy, and then they, oh my goodness, it's like amazing because they're having such a wonderful time, or they get really, really sad because they're on their own, or because they've lost somebody, or because they're still grieving, or because they don't have any money. So many different reasons people get sad. This year, honestly, I just think it's going to be very, very different. But I don't think that means that it has to be sad. And I don't think that means that we have to really struggle with it. It's just going to be different. Has this year not been massively different? Because for me, it's been one of my most unusual years ever. It has been incredibly different. And remember what I said on the first live, that we really struggle. The mind really struggles with what's different. Our minds like consistency. I may have said this before, but I'll say it again. Remember that the mind likes to repeat everything that we did yesterday, today. Because if it repeats everything it did yesterday, today, then it feels safe. And particularly if we survived yesterday. So the mind, in its most simplistic form, because it is really, really simple, this is the primal part of the mind will just keep repeating. It just keeps wanting to repeat because it's safe, and that keeps us safe. So whenever we end up with a bit of a challenge, or something different happens, or I don't know, Bojo said back in March, stay at home, you must stay at home, you have to be locked down. What happens? A lot of people's anxiety peaks. Interesting, a lot of people that I worked with anxiety, their anxiety reduced because all of a sudden the decision was made for them. They didn't have to think anymore. Hannah has put, I find Christmas the most stressful and upsetting time of the year. Don't like it for that reason. And it almost saddens me to hear that. And I wonder how you can make it a little healthier for you. How can you reclaim Christmas? So here's what I encourage you to do in that situation right there. I encourage you to get a piece of paper, because I like a piece of paper and some writing. And I want you to write down in detail what is stressful about Christmas for you, one by one, and you can start in priority order. Start with the most stressful point. What we do with that list is we do a list, and then we mark them 1 to however many, and then work out, if you can, which of those stress points you can not eliminate but renegotiate, let's say. So just have a think about that. Why is it so stressful? What are the points, and how can you then begin to unpick them slowly? And again, going back to what I said earlier, I'm aware that sometimes we have responsibilities that we can't really get out of. If you've got children, you've kind of got children and they're there and you can't get rid of them. I'm really sorry. But children quite often make Christmas for a lot of people. And you know that's also a really interesting point, because with Christmas, I think sometimes we go, it's for the children, it's for the children, it's for the children. And then when the children aren't there, then we really struggle. Because it was always for the children, and the children go, and when we go, oh, well, where does that leave us? Because we've got nothing. And actually, it's about renegotiating it for me. For years, I never ate turkey on Christmas Day. And I never ate turkey on Christmas Day because I refused. I refused to eat turkey on Christmas Day because I was like, I don't want turkey on Christmas Day. I think I had steak. At the time, my partner was like, well, it's a bit weird. No one says who. Who says it's weird? I had Christmas pudding because I love Christmas pudding. So that's why I had that. I'm going to ask you quickly again to share as many times as you can. Not because I want my face out there, because I don't, but it's about getting this really valuable resource out there for people to watch and become more resourced and reset and regulated for the winter season. Everything is within our power. Everything is within our hands. Okay, and if you go back through the some of the techniques that I've shown you over the last few weeks, then we can definitely become more resourced for winter. I've just been told I'm having turkey for Christmas dinner this year. Okay, I can go with that. It's tough for everyone. Friends and family make me happy. What makes you... Well, I was just laughing at something on the feed. What makes you happy over Christmas? Give me something simple. Give me something simple that makes you happy at Christmas. I'm not talking a new Ferrari. I'm not talking about a new Porsche or a diamond ring. What makes you happy? Let me give you mine. Oh, mine used to be many, many years ago. This was early days Christmas when I had more responsibilities. Was so it was a bottle of a sweet, sickly, sparkling something and some Thornton's chocolates, Thornton's Continentals. Now it would probably be Christmas pudding, because I like Christmas pudding. Gary has put, I like getting up at the same time each day unless I need to change that time for a reason other than another. Gary's referring back to not the mind not wanting to change and the mind not liking change. We like routine. The mind likes routine. And interesting, that does feed back into Christmas, and it feeds back into the COVID situation at the minute, because so much has changed. So much of our routines have changed. And Christmas also might change this year, because we might ordinarily have been with people that we wanted to be with and we can't this year. I did hear really briefly on the radio today that they are working very hard, the government, on trying to negotiate Christmas so as it is not affected too much. What that means, I have no idea, because I'm not a politician, and neither would I want to be. The thoughtfulness of others at Christmas. I quite agree, Mandy. I quite agree. Les's put, I honestly love the fact that everything and everyone stops for one day. You know where I'm going to go with this, don't you? I wish that was the case, because I wish that everybody stopped, or at least I wished, and I wish this for everybody, that everybody took their part in Christmas. Honestly, I do. I wish that when we cook Christmas dinner, that everybody cooks it together. When we do the prep for Christmas, that everybody takes their part in prepping for Christmas. Because for me, that would make me really happy, because then everybody would get a shot at least enjoying it just a little bit. And again, this Christmas is going to be most unusual. So I think this year, more than ever before, it's important that we all take our part and that we all step in and we all help a little bit. Think we could do that? I hope so. And I'm not just talking about this house either. Les has also put, I honestly love the fact that everything and everyone... Oh yeah, I've just read that one. Yeah, I picked it to pieces. Sorry. Quiet time with the tree, fire, and good wine and loved ones. Angela, I love that. And you know why I love it? Because it's simple. It's absolutely just simple. One of the other things I love doing on Christmas Day is going for a long walk. A long walk and not getting too hung up on what time Christmas dinner is or what time we're having it and do we need to eat again and have we eaten enough, and you know when you get to the end of Christmas Day, oh my goodness, how much food have I eaten? Julie's put Christmas lights and carols. Oh, Christmas lights and carols. I love those. I went to a carol concert last year for the first time in many years. Will that happen again this year? I have no idea. Honestly, I don't know. It will be sadly missed. Bobby's put, everyone in my family has generally helped with the preparation. It's part of the fun. Yes, Bobby. Yes. Get in. That's how we do Christmas. We share the prep. Let's just put, I can wash the pots. We'll talk about that. What else do we have? You know, Christmas really is. It really is about you doing Christmas the way you want to do, whilst considering other people. So for those who weren't watching earlier, this is what I suggested. If there are 4 people in the house, 2 adults, 2 children, if there are 6 people in the house, it doesn't matter how many, each take a list and write down your top 3 priorities for Christmas. So that I'm not just talking Christmas Day, because you know Christmas starts before Christmas Day, and it goes on. So write down your top 3 priorities, bring them together so we don't influence each other. We go away and we do it on our own. Bring them together, put them on a table and see what you can make of it. See what you can come up with. What else do we have here? Vanessa says, but I love singing carols, laughing with others and the lights on the tree. I love that. That's just amazing. I do love playing Christmas carols when it gets close enough. Well, you know, I don't want to start singing Christmas carols in November. Christmas belongs in December, but that is just a personal choice of mine and not reflected by Newark and Sherwood District Council. Okay? So yeah, Christmas. Reclaim it. Reclaim it. It can, as like somebody said earlier, I think it was Hannah, it can be one of the most stressful times of the year, and it doesn't need to be. If something's stressful, it's because we are allowing it to be stressful. We are allowing it to be stressful. Nobody else is making it stressful for us. We're letting it happen. If I get fed up of cooking, then that's because I let it happen. And then I have to step forward and say, I'm not cooking tonight. Can you cook, please? My responsibility. Okay? Oh, I love this one. Amanda Wilson. I'm going to read this one because I love it. Hi, Linda. Been a long time since I've seen you. We need to put an extra lot of lights up and open curtains so as everybody can enjoy a Christmas like Blackpool. It will be free activity for all. You know, I was out earlier walking with a client and it was dark by the time we got back. And I said exactly that. Wouldn't it be an amazing idea if we have lights that we can put out the front. Wouldn't it be amazing if we all went that extra mile with decorating the outside of our house or inside the house? And like Amanda's just said, put extra lights up, because it's the one thing that, and I know that on the little village that I live in, it's amazing. Christmas is amazing when you, particularly when you get just like a few days away and everybody's decorated and you take the dogs for a walk at night. It's one of the most joyous sights ever. And it's safe. It's completely safe. Nothing can happen through walking through the streets and looking at people's pretty lights. So yeah, let's make an effort. Let's make an effort. You know, it's Halloween on Saturday, and again locally, people, what they're doing is kids can't trick and treat. We know it's not safe, so therefore it's not something we should be doing. So the plan is here locally is that if you have a pumpkin, the kids are going on like a pumpkin hunt with their parents individually in their little bubbles. And what's going to happen is if they see a pumpkin, the little child goes, pumpkin, and then parent gives child a sweet. How amazing is that? I was wondering if me and Les could go and whether we could do the same, if you don't mind, because I would quite enjoy that. So yeah, Saturday night, if you're taking the kids out, do that. Go pumpkin hunting if you can, and just give your child a little sweet when you see them, or a piece of fruit, whatever you want to give them. Uh, I've been asked if I'm cooking Christmas dinner. I probably will Christmas dinner. Uh, Julie's put, consider volunteering for a charity. I think that's an amazing idea, but here's a little caveat with that. I looked into this some years ago now, and you have to kind of get in quite early because sometimes it involves a little bit of training. Sometimes you can just turn up, but please, if you're thinking about doing something really productive and lovely like that on Christmas Day, then step forward now and see who's around and see what we can do. My guess is that people this year will struggle more than ever in terms of money and finance, and I think it's really important that we all step forward with extra food into food banks and do whatever we can to help others that will be really struggling this year. So if you can't help physically on Christmas Day, then maybe donate something somewhere. That's a great idea, and thank you, Julie, for bringing that forward. But like I say, step forward now because you can get a little bit stuck. I know that I looked into it and I'd left it too late, so I couldn't do anything. Gary's put, me too, Les. It's going to be different, not a problem. Get on with it and be positive. I agree. Mandy's put, don't forget to discard pumpkins in... I didn't know that. Thanks, Mandy. Don't forget to discard pumpkins as they are poisonous for hedgehogs. I did not know that. I had no idea they were poisonous for hedgehogs. So, yeah, after the 31st, or maybe very late on Saturday night, get the pumpkins in and keep it safe, okay? Let's keep our little prickly friends nice and safe. What else does anybody have any... I asked the question earlier about it was like fears and aspirations. What might people's fears be over Christmas? And although I don't necessarily want to go down this route of asking you what your fears are, I do want us to talk about it because a problem shared is a problem halved. I know that's cliche, but it's also really, really true. And yes, a therapist would say that. So what might you be worried about coming into Christmas? Pumpkin soup. Yep, I've never had pumpkin soup. I'd like to try it. Rachel has put, I'm definitely making a huge effort with Halloween and Christmas decorations. We've got to celebrate and enjoy what we can at the moment. I absolutely agree with that, Rachel. That is a brilliant point. And that's what I meant about the lights. Let's decorate even more so this year. I have to admit, we haven't done anything for Halloween, but maybe we will. But let's just make that little bit extra effort with stuff that we can do. Okay? And for me, that it almost takes it back to a really lovely, simplistic Christmas. A lot of people are going to struggle. A lot of people are really going to struggle this year with Christmas for lots and lots of different reasons. I get the sense that more people this year will struggle even more so. Bobby has put, Vanessa Cookson has put, feeling alone. I love that one, Vanessa. What would you do with that? How could you do that? Because... and we can do this over many things that we identify now. Because you're identifying it now, then maybe think about how you can avoid that. So who can you be in touch with? Who can you connect with? Who can you, even if you can't be in the same room with them, who can you, and maybe you can, because maybe you can create a bubble. I don't know what will be happening by then. Who can you Zoom call? Who can you, and I know as I say that, people are going, no, we're not going to Zoom on Christmas Day. My guess is we will. If we want to connect with people, that's how we're going to connect. We're going to Zoom call. So I love that you brought it up. Now work out how, before it gets to Christmas, you can maybe avoid that or at least reduce that happening. Bobby's put, this is a great tip as well. So we're back to Halloween now. We can seem to be flicking between Halloween and Christmas. Just put them off the ground so other wildlife can eat them later. They cause severe runs which dehydrate the poor hedgehogs. Oh, it's really sad. But I like the idea that we might go back to basics. We are definitely going back to basics this year. I love the idea. I made a Christmas cake last week. Now we have eaten a quarter of it, which really shouldn't have happened, but I did make one because I wanted to make one. Never made one before, so I wanted to have a crack at it. So Christmas, back to basics, simplify it. In terms of gifts, why aren't we making each other gifts? Why aren't we making little things, simple little things, like, I don't know, candles, or learn to crochet. Crochet a berry, don't do that. No, if you want to crochet a berry, then you can. But let's take it back to basics. Maybe make a batch of fudge and give it to somebody wrapped up, or make little sweet treats, or I don't know. Oh my goodness, there's so many different ideas, and I'm sure that if you Googled this, there would be loads and loads of options for you to make gifts to give to people. I promise you that if somebody gave me, and I'm not asking for people to give me gifts, but if somebody gave me a handmade gift, whether it be a little sweet treat or whatever it be, my thought would be, oh my goodness, they've put effort into this. They haven't just been onto Amazon and bought a gift, or wherever it is, other retailers are available. They have really thought about this and put some time and effort in. So let's take it back to basics. Let's enjoy the essence of Christmas. And the essence of Christmas for a lot of people is a little bit of food, family, friends, loved ones, and maybe maybe it is about being alone, but being okay with that. When we go to that area, it gets a little bit more difficult, but we can be okay with being on our own, and we can be okay with being in our own space. Maybe it takes a little bit of work, but we can do that. Bobby's put to Vanessa, please ensure some people know how you're feeling. I think you'll be surprised at their reaction on the day. I agree. I completely agree. Once we let people know that is one of our fears, then people tend to step forward. And that's not charity or people feeling sorry for us. That's people being genuinely lovely and going, I don't want you to be alone on Christmas Day. And even in the current climate, we can make that work. We absolutely can. I desperately want us to have such a lovely, pleasant, healthy Christmas this year and winter, which is why we're doing these podcasts, courtesy of myself and Newcastle District Council. I forgot their name then. Gary's put, I've personally been worrying about the future too much, but not about mine. It's the future generation. Yep, I'm with you on that, Gary. When I think about the future, I tend not to think about my own future, but I do worry about. I tend to become a little bit concerned about the finances of the future. However, this is where I go with that. I can't change it. I can't change anything that's happening right now, so therefore I choose not to worry about it, because I literally can't do anything. Does my daughter have good education around money? Yes, she does. She has on-point education around money, not from me, from her granddad and her mum. She did not inherit that from me. So therefore, it's about choosing not to worry about things that we can't change. Okay? So the good news as we go into the last 15 minutes is we have had commissioning for some more of these lives. How amazing is that? So this is what we're going to do. We will be back next week, or I say we, I mean me. I'll be back next week with another subject. Your interaction tonight has been absolutely amazing. I've loved it, and I want more of this. This is resourcing for winter, resourcing for a healthier, happier winter, given the year that we've had. So we are going to do another 4 sessions, and then there's something in the pipeline that I can't reveal just yet that is even bigger than what we're doing right now, that I am massively, massively excited about. And I can't tell you what it is, because it isn't a done deal right yet. Anyway, so we will be back next week, and then, so that'll be the first of another 4 sessions, and then we're going to go fortnightly, which will take us right up to the middle of December. I think we end on something like the 16th of December, just before Christmas. And then somehow, by hook or by crook, we will be back in January, okay, because I'm aware that is the darkest. But the good news is we're back. And while we're not back, we're carrying on. So we got a little bit more commissioning. We can make this happen again. So get in. So subjects. I need subjects. I need to know what you want to talk about in terms of mental health and well-being going into the winter months. Okay, let me just let's see what Hannah. I like making gifts, but I feel some wouldn't appreciate it. I also like making little hampers with a few little things and a shoebox. I love that, Hannah. I love that. And can I just say this, that if you're giving those to people that wouldn't appreciate it, then this is going to sound really harsh. Harsh warning. Then I probably wouldn't give them to them. Because if they can't appreciate the time and effort that you have put into those little handmade gifts or the little hampers, then I wouldn't be giving them to them. I wouldn't be wasting my time, okay? Because I know personally, if somebody gave that to me, I would be absolutely thrilled. Okay, so yeah, well done. That is fantastic. Les Jones has put, my incredible nephew said that we always inherit our previous generation's problems. Sadly, we do. However, I should point out there that we didn't, and I really don't want to go down the political route. We didn't. Coronavirus is our problem, but we didn't. It wasn't our fault. We didn't make it happen. Kev, it's been like listening to music. I feel a lot calmer, relaxed. Thanks. Oh, thanks, Gary. It has been absolutely lovely having you on. Those that you love appreciate your thoughtfulness. I agree. I agree. If somebody really cares about you, it doesn't matter what you buy. They just absolutely love it. They just appreciate it. And if it came to Christmas Day, and all of a sudden there's a little ball of emotion right there. If I got a hug from my daughter, then I'd be quite happy with that. I would be absolutely happy with that. Without anything else, a hug from her, I would be okay. Can that happen? I honestly have no idea whether that can happen or not, but I'd be quite thrilled with that. Okay. That was a really unexpected bolt of emotion right there. Les has put, are these my worst nightmare? I can't see now because of tears. Are these my worst nightmare? Would be to get an expensive gift. It really is memory that matters to me. I know. You might be so sorry you said that. And Julie Morgan has agreed with Gary. Honestly, reclaim it, make it your own. If you come from a really, really busy household and you're all protected and you're all in your own little bubble, and this was such a classic from last year that somebody brought, the list of jobs to do was absolutely massive. It was huge, and it started really, really early. And the reason that I wanted to do this little section on Christmas right now was because now's the time that people start saying, oh, what are you doing for Christmas? What are you doing for Christmas? What are you doing for Christmas? And plans start getting made. So if you don't want Auntie Mabel to come across this Christmas, then make sure that your excuses are well in place right now. Okay? Make sure that you have your reasons right now, because now's the time that people are going to start asking. There's a lot of expectations. Elderly people, older people tend to do this thing where they go, but we always do it that way. Why are we not doing it that way this year? So, and just because you always do it doesn't mean that's the way it should always be done. I love a tradition, but traditions can get very binding, and they can almost strangle us sometimes. So be careful with traditions. They can be absolutely lovely and delightful and amazing, but they can also really tie us down. So be careful with those traditions. What do we have? What do we have on the feed? I'm not sure who Talisha's referring to. I'd like a new pair of pajamas, Talisha Jade, if you don't mind. That's what you can put on mine. What was that one? I'm with you, Kevin. Angela Joy, I'm with you, Kevin. A hug with my lovely children this Christmas would be amazing. It's the simple things. It really has been a hell of a year, and as I said earlier, it's not letting up much. Just really quickly on what's just happened in Newark. Newark's going into Tier 3 on Friday morning with the rest of Nottinghamshire. Just quickly on that, I hear some people say that we are going into lockdown on Friday morning. We are not going into lockdown on Friday morning. We are going into Tier 3 with increased restrictions. The reason I say that is because if we start saying the word lockdown, and it's not lockdown, this is nothing like what happened in March, the mind starts hearing that. And everything that I do is about calming the mind and making sure that the mind is in a much, much healthier place. So increased restrictions or Tier 3 is much gentler on the mind, okay? And it's about calming this as much as we possibly can. For those that didn't hear the news earlier, we are back next week, and then we're back fortnightly up until something like the 16th of December, and we have something even bigger in the pipeline, which I am so excited about. I can't tell you, and I literally can't tell you because it's not a done deal yet. So yeah, reclaim Christmas, and reclaim that unwanted anxiety. And we reclaim unwanted anxiety by lots and lots of deep breathing, 2 minutes every hour. It's nothing. 2 minutes, that's all I'm asking you for. And I'm asking you for it because this is for your peace of mind, not for mine. I would love to live in a world where there was far more peace around, but I don't need it because I'm fairly peaceful myself. But I would love to see people more peaceful. I would love to see people happier, more content, more in control of their mind. We sometimes, I think sometimes we feel or we think that the anxiety is in control of us, and actually it's not. We can definitely be in control of the anxiety. So if you start to feel yourself dipping in terms of mood, work out why, and then do something to counteract that. If you feel like your anxiety coming up a little bit, and remember, anxiety starts off very low and starts building it. Sometimes we don't feel it until, I don't know, perhaps we get sweaty palms or stuff like that. But catch it as early as you can and get straight into the deep breathing. In fact, I take that back. Deep breathe every day. At the minute, it's absolutely needed. Teach your children, if you've got children, teach your children to deep breathe. It's such a fantastic way of doing it. If you've got toddlers or little ones, wake them up in the morning and say, we're going to do 2 minutes deep breathing. How amazing would that be? I know that you think that you might not have time to do that, but actually, I'm almost sure that you would have a calmer morning rush once they've done 2 minutes deep breathing. Honestly, I absolutely do. What else do we have? Vanessa's put, thank you, so glad that you'll be back next week. I'm really glad we're back next week as well. It's amazing news. It's amazing that the council are valuing these sessions, and it's amazing that you are also valuing them. And you know what really makes these sessions is this input. What really makes them is this kind of continuous feed. It almost feels like, and I love this, I was thinking about this last week, it almost feels like we are developing a really lovely community, and it feels like a big hug. And I love that. I love that it feels like this group of people that are here week after week, and then you get people dipping in and out, and people come back, and I love it. It just feels like a big hug where all of these people can feel safe and begin to calm their mind and just feel more peaceful. You know, peaceful is such a powerful word for me. It was the one thing that I felt like I chased for nearly all my life. I just wanted peace. And I don't think I really nailed peace until, I don't know, maybe the last 7-8 years. But I've got a good grip on it now. A lot of that is lifestyle, is home life. All of that all leads to a more peaceful mind, and also practices like the butterfly hug. I want to go through the butterfly hug with you. One more. Oh, let me just read this. My fear is being on my own, but there is video calling to see and speak to my loved ones. I'm really aware that video calling isn't perfect in terms of connection with other people. But I think when it comes to a choice of video connection or nothing, then for me it would absolutely have to be video connection. It's because it's some sort of connection. It's some sort of connection. I was working, so all my work at the minute is online. It is all like this, through a screen, through a camera. And I was really shocked today. In fact, it happened 2 weeks on the trot. I was working with a client today, and because of something that clients going through, they get very, very tired, and they yawn a lot through the session. And I'm really hoping that's not because I'm boring, but they yawn a lot. And actually, I also get really tired. So we call that transference. So it fascinates me that transference can happen through an online medium like this. And if that can happen, we can feel love, and we can feel hugs, and we can feel all of that through online as well. So please don't give up on it. Please embrace it and try and make it happen for you. But don't be alone, because we don't need to be. I had a friend earlier on this year saying, I hate Zoom calls. I don't want to do any more Zoom calls. I was like, surely a Zoom call is better than not seeing us at all. Surely. I didn't last long. He did a Zoom call. What we got here? Sorry, my darling daughter Talisha Jade. Deep breathing really works. As much as it pains me to admit you're right, thank you. Helped me through one of the most nervous days of my life. So I think that was my darling daughter's interview, I think. And I said to her, you must deep breathe before you go in. Do it when you wake up, do it when you get into the car, do it when you get out of the car, go to the bathroom just before your interview, and deep breathe as much as you can. And actually, interesting, that's the first time that my darling daughter has admitted that actually helped her. I'm so pleased that helped you. Honestly, it is so powerful. If you go onto my Facebook wall, there's loads of videos on there. And actually, if you don't want to see any more of me, because I'm aware that I can get too much, then go onto YouTube, Google deep breathing, and there's hundreds and hundreds of videos on there. So yeah, deep breathing is really powerful. Gary's put, it's better than nothing, I agree, although I don't like it when you try to have a conversation with somebody with sunglasses on. I'm with you on that one. I'm not entirely sure why somebody would wear sunglasses on a Zoom call, but I can imagine they do. Les but sorry I missed that. I've been cooking tea, just saying. So hopefully, but when I finish this in 2 minutes time, and my tea will be ready. How wonderful is that? So I am going to wrap up. We are back next week at 7 o'clock. Please get the word out. Let's get more people on here. Let's get the nation more peaceful, okay? More peaceful and more resilient and more resourceful going into winter months. As this blinking virus kind of takes a grip again, let's not let it take us under, because it doesn't need to take us under. We have the power, not it. Okay? I wanted to say thank you for your communication. It has been absolutely amazing. Your comments, your feeds, all of that has been a million. And thank you so much for sharing the feeds as they go out. Don't forget, everything is available on the Facebook wall. Once I finish the feed, it just pops onto there, so you can watch back at any point or share it with people. Share it, pass it on to people. Let's share the love a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go, and I will be back. Yes, I will be back next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. So until then, please take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself and be kind to everybody around you. Okay, I'm going to go. Take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye.